The Lancashire Lamborghini. Sticks of rock, false breasts and sports cars. Boris samples yet another fine Blackpool export. TVR's tomorrow. Okay. When I tumbled out of the front seat of the TVR tomorrow, I was jangling all over like a drill. That thing that drills are well known for doing, jangling. My tongue clove to the roof of my mouth. My eyeballs oscillated like things that oscillate a lot. Ocelots, perhaps. I was sweating, I was tired, and those parts of the brain which supply adjectives to motoring correspondence were all seized up with the wrong sort of hormone. Ew. My word, I said to myself, that car is, it's fast. Yes, of course it's fast, said my inner literary critic. It has a 3.6 litre straight six engine like all the classic British sports cars of the 20th century. It can attain a speed of 60 miles an hour in less than 4 seconds and a top speed of 170 miles per hour. It's fast, all right, but you are being paid to come up with something a bit more flowery than that. You can't just ring up Dylan Jones and the rest of the guys at GQ and say, hey chaps, guess what? The new TVR is fast. I think of the poor benighted readers of GQ, said my inner literary critic. That sort of assume that this thing is fast, looking as it does like a cross between an ICBM, whatever that is, and a particularly nasty German souped up suppository. And he would know what that is. Okay. They want to know what it feels like to drive. They want mood, ethos, character. Above all, they want to know whether it is glamorous. Okay, I said to my inner literary critic. This is somebody he talks to a lot, isn't he? I get the point, and I looked hard at the car again, and I frowned and tried to think of some other means of describing the machine. It's fast, rapid, quick, a bit of a mover. It covers the distance between A and B with a clarity, celerity and velocity. Oh, to hell with it, I thought, and in search of inspiration, I rang TVR's own Ben Samuelson to discover just how glamorous this car really was. And he starts the next sentence with "and" with a capital A. And I must confess that to begin with, my researchers were not encouraging. Take the very name, TVR. You might expect that these 3 letters stood for something almost erotically glamorous. Would you? Just as GTV stands for Gran Turismo Veloz. But no, it turns out that it's an abbreviation of the Old English Christian name Trevor, since the TVR company was founded by a man called Trevor in 1947. You mean, I said, just to be sure I heard correctly, that TVR just stands for Trevor? Yes, said Ben, the man from TVR, gloomily. There was Enzo Ferrari, there was Ferruccio Lamborghini, and there was Trevor Wilkinson. Right, I said, and where do they make them, these cars called Trevor? Where is the spiritual home of the TVR? In Lancashire, said Ben, in a guarded sort of way. I tried to think of a glamorous part of Lancashire. Whereabouts? I asked. Blackpool, actually, said Ben. Well, folks, Blackpool is commonly agreed to have many attributes, but glamour is not among them. In fact, in a hotly contested field, it is the most vulgar place in Britain. I think that's wherever Boris is, isn't it? Some of us spend at least part of every autumn in Blackpool during the party conference season. At the end of each conference, there is a little competition among the journalists. Everyone goes out to buy something from the wares of Blackpool, and the winner is the person who can find the most embarrassing object. You may not believe this, but for some reason almost every shop in Blackpool seems to specialise in enormous false breasts, or 6-foot-long joke willy warmers, or hilarious plastic dog turds. Hilarious. Every year the journalists parade these objects, and their snobby southern eyes run with tears of laughter. One year, I remember the top prize went to a wind-up toy that mechanically enacted the love that flowers between a woman and a German shepherd dog. Such, at any rate, are the objects which I have normally taken to be emblematic of Blackpool, and that is why I gasped when Ben from TVR told me of the machine's provenance. It's confusingly written, isn't it? Because I've sort of lost what he was talking about. Because he was going on about some guy called Trevor, and now we're on joke willy warmers. Okay. Blackpool, I said. Yep, said Ben, and I put down the telephone rather in the same mood as I got out the car, breathless and stunned. I looked again at the machine, still sizzling and smoking from our death ride up the M40 and back, which probably says more about his driving than anything else. From its vast engine, entirely made in Blackpool through and through like a stick of rock, there came some pinking noises. And then I gave it another little spin around the block and marvelled again at the way it stuck to the corners as though they were tram tracks. I gawped again at the acceleration, which thumps you in the back with all the vehemence of a Tory whip who sees you accidentally walking into the Ayres lobby by mistake. I looked at the funny little knob under the wing mirror, which you use to open the doors, and this time I saw not a clumsy piece of design, I saw a brilliant anti-theft device. I saw how utterly trivial my objections were. Who cares if the car is made in Blackpool? Who cares if it is named after a man called Trevor? As the Duke of Wellington pointed out to the historian, who noted that he was born in a stable in Dublin, that did not make him a horse. That would have made more sense if it had been punctuated better, that sentence. It was an honour to drive a car which manages so magnificently to overcome its background, to shake off its curiously abbreviated name. The TVR roars like an old Aston or an Austin Healey, and yet with modern engine management it goes twice as fast and it doesn't oil its plugs at the traffic lights. As Ben says, and he will refund you if he is wrong, it's quicker than anything else for the money. That's the Tamora for you. They say Tamora never comes, but she certainly goes. Oh, that was disgusting.
Nice, thank you.